Once upon a time, in a quiet hospital room, Zayn lay still in his bed. Although he was in a coma, he had recently begun to awaken. Yet, he kept this awakening a secret from his dear wife, Mary, who sat by his side day and night. Mary was devoted to her husband. Every day she stayed by his bedside, holding his hand, her heart full of love and worry, believing he was still lost in deep slumber. But unknown to Mary, there was another figure hidden in that room, a shadowy presence lurking under the bed. It was the man's mistress, carefully hiding from sight. Zayn knew she was there, hiding so close by, and he felt a strange mix of thrill and unease. He wished he could call for help without revealing his secret, but he didn't dare risk it. Time passed slowly, and as the hours stretched on, his mistress grew impatient. She whispered softly, urging him to hurry with his plan. She was daring his mistress. Even in such a dangerous situation, she smirked as she peeked out, insisting that he get things in order quickly so they could leave. Zayn couldn't help but grin as he lay there, thinking of all the secrets he'd carefully hidden away. Assets and possessions gained by questionable means, all stashed safely where no one would find them. The woman hiding under his bed adored his rebellious spirit. She enjoyed the thrill of it all, the secrets, the danger, and the mystery that surrounded their relationship. But Mary, pure-hearted and gentle, began to notice something strange. She had an uneasy feeling that something was amiss, though she couldn't put her finger on it. Just then, his mistress sprang into action, pretending to be a concerned nurse. She emerged from under the bed, offering help to Zayn, pretending to administer care while Mary looked on, none the wiser. Mary was deeply moved by this nurse's dedication. She truly believed this was a miraculous intervention, sent by fate to help her beloved husband recover. Zayn, amused by how perfectly everything was falling into place, thanked the nurse sincerely. He gave Mary a reassuring smile, hiding the web of deception behind his calm demeanor. Mary, trusting and loyal, had no reason to doubt her husband or the helpful nurse, who seemed so devoted to his care. She felt a surge of relief, convinced that her husband was in safe hands. Encouraged by the success of his plan so far, Zayn requested round-the-clock care from his nurse, suggesting that it would be best for his recovery. Mary, always wanting the best for her husband, agreed at once. The nurse, now officially in charge, performed her duties diligently, while Mary observed, comforted and reassured. But Mary had her own ideas about her husband's recovery. She invited a mystical healer, a sorceress known for her mysterious ways, to help bring her husband back to full health. When Zayn saw the sorceress enter his room, he was puzzled. He hadn't expected such an unusual approach. What was Mary planning, he wondered. The sorceress, wise and experienced, prepared a strange potion. She mixed herbs and powders, whispering enchantments as she created a brew like no other, while the nurse watched with growing unease. Zayn was reluctant, but with Mary's hopeful gaze upon him, he had no choice. He took a sip of the potion, grimacing at its bitter taste. Soon after, the nurse, who had been plotting alongside him, began to feel strangely drowsy. Her eyes grew heavy, and before she knew it, she fell into a deep, dreamless sleep. With the nurse fast asleep, Zayn saw his chance. Quietly, he slipped out of bed, careful not to make a sound, and crept toward the door. He met his mistress outside the room, and together they shared a conspiratorial smile, savoring the freedom they'd stolen for these brief stolen hours. But the potion's effects lingered. His limbs felt heavy, his movements sluggish, and he found himself unable to respond to his mistress's words, which only frustrated her more. Realizing the only way out was to pretend to be fully healed, Zayn put on a grand show, awakening miraculously, much to Mary's utter delight. Mary's heart overflowed with joy and relief. She believed with all her heart that her husband was healed, a miracle granted at last. She hugged him tightly, her trust unwavering. Grateful for Zayn's recovery, Mary decided it was time for a break. She booked a peaceful vacation for herself, confident that her husband was finally on the mend. But as Zayn checked his bank account, expecting to revel in his riches, he was met with an empty balance. Every last penny was gone, vanished without a trace. As Zayn stood there in shock, he saw Mary smirking as she gathered her things, glancing back at him with a knowing look before heading off to begin her new life. And before Zayn could grasp the full weight of what had happened, he heard footsteps behind him. The authorities had been watching all along, waiting for the moment to close in. As Zayn faced his fate, Mary basked in the warm sunlight of a tropical beach, free and content, savoring the happiness she had long dreamed of. In the end, it was Mary who had the last laugh.
Don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to receive all that is new.